The movie begins with Ivo, an Estonian man who is one of the few who chooses to remain in their village and spend his day at his workshop. He is trimming wood like any other day when an unknown man enters his door. The strange man and his comrade are wearing soldiers' uniforms and ask him for food. He joins them in their car, and they drive him to his home since he tells them that he has food at his place. They ask him if he has others who live with him, to which Ivo confirms that he is alone. Back at his house, he welcomes the men, who immediately make themselves home while Ivo prepares their food. The guy named Ibrahim notices the picture frame of his granddaughter, Mari. He shows it to his friend and tells him that she is beautiful. He finishes packing their food and warns them not to think of anything about his granddaughter, to which the man tells him not to worry. As they receive the food from Ivo, he asks them about the intense war. The man validates that it is happening and no one will be as nice as them, so it is best if he leaves Estonia. They immediately go out while asking about the neighborhood. Still, Ivo tells them that no one lives there besides Margus, who plants tangerines. Following the men's departure, Ivo walks out of his house and goes to Margus' abode. He calls for his name a couple of times before entering. He finds Margus in the thickness of his tangerine trees, picking his fruits. Margus inquires about the guys that talk to him. He says they are Caucasians asking for food. On the other hand, Ivo asks him if he has settled an agreement with one of their acquaintances. Margus answers that they will send him 20 soldiers on the 7th to work for one day. Ivo doubts they will make it, but Margus assures him they will pick as many tangerines as possible. He adds that he has already started. Ivo is worried about the tempo of their harvest and the threat of war coming to their village. Back at the workshop, Ivo cuts wood intended to make boxes as containers for the tangerines. He stops and takes a break. He eats his bread while listening to the radio about the war. After a while, he hears gunshots nearby. He promptly goes outside to see what is happening. Then, one loud explosion makes him run to the front yard of Margus' house. He identifies 2 military vehicles, both destroyed and with soldiers lying there lifelessly. He shouts for Margus, and he comes running to him. With a short breath, Margus explains that one car is tailing and shooting the other in front. He was hiding in one of his trees when the encounter happened. As they still absorb what just happened, one soldier in Margus' yard makes a sound that seems to be in severe pain. Without a second thought, Ivo goes to him and puts away the weapon on his chest. He opens his suit while commanding Margus to carefully inspect their van. Margus verifies that everyone is dead. Back at Ivo's house, they help the wounded soldier while he spits curses at the Georgians who killed his comrades. Ivo reminds him to calm down and refrain from shouting. Later that night, they carry the soldiers' dead bodies and put them in the military police's car. They drive to a forest in the village, where they decide to bury the bodies together. As Margus fixes their bodies, Ivo asks him to check for documents so that if their relatives come to look for them, they can show them their graves. They notice that the soldiers are young. Ivo suggests burying the Georgians separately from the guy with a beard, a mercenary Estonian or Chechen who turns out to be Ibrahim. A few minutes later, a Georgian makes a sound and moves. They are now aware that he is still alive. They immediately bring him back to Ivo's house to cure him and give him medicine. As they drag the weak body of the Georgian soldier, the Estonian hears them and asks if he is Ibrahim. Ivo requests Margus to bring clean water and a towel and call for Dr. Johan. A piece of a bombshell was in the Georgian's head, and they would need assistance from the doctor to keep him alive. Ivo advises Margus that no one has to know about them catering to soldiers, worse, a Georgian. Then, Ivo enters the room where the other soldier rests. He asks about the guy they bring in. Ivo honestly answers that he's a Georgian. The soldier says he will kill the Georgian to avenge his friend. Still, Ivo disagrees, saying they killed each other's comrades. Johan washes his hands after he checks on the wounded soldiers. He mentions to Ivo that the Chechen soldier will be fine in a week, while the Georgian depends on his body's strength. Ivo locks the door of the Georgian soldier before the three of them leave the house. They ride a car with a rope connected to another vehicle used by the Georgian soldiers to throw it away on a cliff. The next day at Ivo's workshop, he creates wooden boxes to contain the tangerines they will harvest. Margus visits him and states that the wounded soldiers are ruining their business. Then, Ivo inquires about their condition. According to Margus, the Chechen soldier is healing, while the Georgian seems to hallucinate all the time. Later that day, Ivo returns to his house to check on the soldiers. He catches the Chechen at the front door of the Georgian's bedroom, holding a knife and asleep. He makes sure that the door is locked, then he drags the Chechen back to his bed. The Chechen confesses that he wants to kill the soldier. That night outside Ivo's house, Margus and Ivo talk to each other mainly about the tangerine business and plans on going back to Estonia. Then, Johan informs them that the Georgian is now conscious. They all go inside. Margus feeds him with soup because he is still very weak. He thanks them for their kindness. The Chechen hears them from across the room and shouts to ask if the Georgian is awake. Ivo enters his room, where the Chechen repeats that he will kill the soldier whatever happens. Ivo warns him that no one will kill in his house as he needs to kill him first. The Chechen disagrees because Ivo saved his life. He comes up with the condition that as long as the Georgian leaves his house, he will kill him. Ivo leaves silently. The following day, the Chechen can walk and leaves his room. Ivo still assists him in sitting down at the dining table because he has yet to gain strength. As he provides him with breakfast, he insists that he must eat even though he has no appetite. He thanks Ivo for saving him and apologizes for what he said, justifying his anger. Finally, they exchange their names. The man is named Ahmed, a Chechen fighter and a mercenary. After that, Ivo goes to the Georgian's room, reiterating their agreement that no one will kill inside his house. Ahmed assures that he is a man of his word and that there is no need for him to lock the Georgian's room. At Ivo's house, Ahmed is resting and listening to the radio about the war. He witnesses the Georgian finally go out of his bedroom. He stares at him as Ivo helps him to sit at the dining table near Ahmed. Ivo offers the Georgian a cup of tea after he gives him back the mixtape they found in his belongings. After a few minutes, Ahmed leaves and isolates himself inside his room. However, Ivo calls him out and says his tea will get cold. Ahmed immediately returns to the dining table and sits face to face with the Georgian. They both stare at each other undesirably. Ivo calms them down and introduces them to each other. The Georgian is named Nika. Ahmed unhesitatingly confesses his plans to kill Nika as soon as he leaves the house. Nika throws his tea to Ahmed, which angers him, but Ivo immediately calls them off. Shortly after, Margus enters the house looking disappointed, and Ivo sits beside him and asks if the men did not come. Margus shakes his head, implying a no. Ivo comforts him by saying that the tangerine business is stupid and no one will find it agreeable during a war. Margus says nothing and stares at him, and then he walks out quickly. Ivo follows Margus to his house and shouts for his name outside his yard. Margus assures that he was not offended. They peacefully talk that day under the nice weather. Later that evening, Ivo and Margus play a board game. On the other hand, Nika complains about the music and requests for it to be stopped, but Ahmed says he likes listening to it. Ahmed joins Nika at the dining table and questions his taste in music. Then, they fight about which race deserves the land they are standing on, the Georgians or the Abkhazians. Nika degrades Ahmed for not knowing about history. He also challenges him to fight that night, but Ahmed refuses because he can barely walk. He stands up but falls to his feet. Ivo and Margus assist him back to his bed while the two enemies exchange insults. The following day, all the men are awake. Ahmed and Nika exchange insults as soon as they face each other, but Ivo stops them. Ivo serves Nika a cup of tea. Nika continues to fix his music tape while staring at Myra's picture. He finally asks Ivo who she is, but he dismisses his question. A few seconds after, Ahmed warns them about the approaching cars of Abkhazians. At first, Nika insists on having a weapon to protect himself, but Ivo blocks his idea because they will kill him first if they learn that he is catering to a Georgian. Ivo greets Aslan and his men, introduces the two men as Chechens, and says that the Georgians are dead. Nika stays quiet as the others talk. He obeys Ivo's command. Before Aslan leaves, Ivo requests for men to harvest Margus tangerines. Ivo notices Nika outside his house and tells Ahmed that he can kill him, but Ahmed says he is too lazy to do it today. At dinner, they enjoy barbecue together, but Ahmed and Nika once again talk about the differences between their races. Ivo then centers himself before the fight escalates. He continues his talk by questioning the problem with men who want to kill. He asks them who gave them the right to kill anyone. Ahmed answers that it is the war, which Ivo finds stupid. Ivo makes a toast about death which Margus finds disagreeable. Margus pours alcohol for Ivo. He recommends drinking for life, but Ivo firmly repeats his toast for death. Ivo stands up, which leaves the men quiet. Nika breaks the silence by asking about the tangerine business. Nika and Ahmed offer to provide their manpower, but Margus assures them he already has many helpers. Suddenly, a loud explosion interrupts the discussion of the men. Still in shock, the men go toward the place of the blast. It is Margus' home. The following day, at Ivo's house, all four men stay together. Margus stares blankly out the window, still looking upset. Ahmed prays to Allah while Nika goes to the dining table for breakfast. He continues fixing the tape while looking at Mari's picture. After praying, Ahmed offers Margus his money so that he can go back to Estonia, but he refuses. Ahmed takes it back and eats his breakfast with Nika. This time, they talk about the differences in their religious belief respectfully and their relationship with their comrades. Ivo goes to Margus and tells him that Ahmed's offer of money is genuine and he should have taken it. Margus goes out to help Ahmed in chopping firewood. Now that Ivo and Nika are alone in the living room, Ivo confronts him about often staring at his granddaughter's picture. Nika apologizes for doing so and says he just finds the girl beautiful. The two exchange further about each other's family and life before the war. They learn that Nika was an actor before the war, and Ivo looks forward to watching him perform with Ahmed with him. They are interrupted when Chechen soldiers approach the yard with hostile intent. Before Ivo exits his home, Nika asks where his weapons are kept, and he answers that they are under the bed. The commanding officer asks if Ahmed is a Georgian. Ahmed immediately answers that he is a Chechen, but the officer is not convinced. As the discussion between Ahmed and the officer becomes heated, Margus and Ivo try to intervene. Still, they need to be listened to by the officer. He asks for Ahmed to speak in the Chechenian language. Ahmed speaks in Chechenian, but the officer firmly believes he is Georgian. He commands his units to shoot Ahmed, but Nika, from the window, makes the first fire to protect Ahmed. Ivo goes back inside while Ahmed and Margus struggle to evade the gunshots. As they are caught in the gunfire, Margus fails to reach for cover and is shot. Ahmed drags his dead body to safety and asks Nika to give him a weapon. He uses the rifle to help him kill the soldiers. As the gunshots are stopped, Ivo goes outside. Still in shock, he checks up on Margus' lifeless body. Nika also looks at him sadly and slowly approaches Ahmed near the vehicle of the dead officers. Walking slowly, 2 gunshots are fired, and Nika silently dies. Ahmed examines him only to confirm that he is killed. At the workshop, Ivo works with Ahmed to build a wooden casket for their 2 friends. Margus is buried with his tangerine trees surrounding him. Meanwhile, Nika, as requested by Ivo, is buried near his son. At Ivo's son's grave, Ahmed asks how his son died, and he answers that it is because of the war against the Georgians. He raises another question if he does not mind burying Nika beside his son. Ivo states that it does not change a thing. Lastly, Ahmed questions a scenario that never happened. If his plan of killing Nika is to occur, will Ivo be willing to bury his dead body near his son? Ivo jokingly answers that he will do the same but probably a little further. Once again, Ahmed expresses his deepest gratitude to Ivo for saving his life. He rides the car and drives away, leaving Ivo at the grave of his son and Nika. The movie ends with them on the road, where he gets the tape that Nika had been fixing and plays it in the car, giving a hint of Nika's taste in music. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.